Welcome back, everyone, to a brand new box office breakdown show here on Max Talks Movies. My name is Max Sittenberg. Today, we're bringing the box office of this past weekend domestically, which is March the 14th to March the 16th, 2025. We're also looking at the overall numbers domestically and worldwide so far in 2025. My name is Max Sittenberg. Welcome back to Max Talks Movies. If you're new to the channel, please hit that subscribe button and ring that bell so you're notified when my new videos drop here on the channel. I do this show every single Monday or Tuesday at the latest. I also do movie and TV show reviews, out of theater reactions, movie ranking videos. So please subscribe, ring the bell if you're brand new to Max Talks Movies. Also, please comment down below. What are your thoughts on this past weekend's box office? Why was this a rough weekend at the multiplexes? Let me know in the comment section. Also, what did you see this past weekend and what are you going to see this upcoming weekend in theaters? Also, please, guys, hit that thumbs up button. So without further ado, let's get this past weekend's box office domestically, which is North America, from the 14th to the 16th. And not surprisingly, Paramount's Novocaine does come in first place with a very low $8.8 million opening weekend. And it is the #1 movie for the worst box office weekend of 2025. This is, if I'm not mistaken, the first box office weekend of the year where the #1 movie is not at least at $10 million. This was a rough weekend at the multiplex. Not just was this the lowest grossing #1 movie of the year, but by the entire gross of every movie in theaters in North America, this was the lowest grossing weekend of 2025. Now, there's a lot of, we'll get into Novocaine first. As we go on through the list, I'll add some tidbits about that. Luckily, Novocaine only has around an $18 million budget. So this is not an awful weekend for Novocaine. I think it would have been really nice for them to have a double-digit #1 movie. But I do think for the creators, both behind the screen and in front of the screen, they will get a minor bump that even if it's the lowest box office weekend of the year and the lowest #1 movie of the year, they can at least say they opened a movie to #1. Now, Jack Quaid has been kind of riding a pseudo momentum after obviously The Boys, but really starring in 2 new releases to begin the year with both Companion and Novocaine. But really, both movies disappointed in its opening weekends. Companion was a movie that I thought was going to be a much bigger deal in theaters. It's already doing strong enough on PVOD, but I think if you're in the Jack Quaid needs to be in every movie, leading person in every movie camp, I'm not sure these are the box office numbers to help. Jack Quaid's going to continue to get tons of work. And he can always say that he did open a movie as a lead, at least in this case. Obviously, Sophie Thatcher's clearly the lead of Companion, that he opened the movie to $8 million to the #1 spot. I do think for his camp, getting more leading roles like this in the coming years, he probably would have held this movie open a little bit bigger. But again, this movie was very cheap to make. Needs to make around $40 million worldwide for it just to break even. So I think Novocaine will make its money, if not in theaters, definitely down the line on streaming, PVOD, and then eventually it will hit Paramount Plus. In second place is the other new release this weekend, which was Focus Features Black Bag, which opened to $7.6 million its opening weekend. Now, the big difference is Novocaine did open $1 million more than Black Bag, but the big difference here is the budgets for both these movies. Novocaine, as I said, has an $18 million budget. It's on a colossal failure. Black Bag has a shocking $50 million budget, which is, I guess, a cheap budget nowadays, but not for a movie like this. This has been very lightly promoted. You really haven't seen much advertisement for this movie whatsoever. It's so weird this movie got a $50 million budget for a spy espionage thriller. Yes, it has good enough marketable stars like Cate Blanchett and Michael Fassbender, but both of them have never had leading roles opening a big movie, not in a franchise. So very weird that this movie got $50 million budget. Feel like this movie could have been around a $20 to $30 million budget, and still this would have not been that good of an opening weekend. $7 million. I'm not sure how much more this movie will do box office wise, and this movie does have significantly lower audience and critic scores than Novocaine as well. Mickey 17 drops to number 3 in its second weekend with a colossal 61% drop in its second weekend, 7.4 million. It's made 33.2 domestically. These are just not good numbers for Warner Brothers Discovery and for Bong Joon-ho. Again, this movie has an $118 million budget on its hands, and Warner Brothers has just been handing out a lot of just big budgets to a lot of people as of late. And it has really backfired on them more than helped. Again, this doesn't really hurt Pattinson at all in a major way, or a lot of the actors in the movie. The person it will hurt the most is probably Bong Joon-ho. No one will just blankly write him a check now again. Warner Brothers gave him that, obviously off of winning Parasite, but now there's a lot of speculation that the test scores were really bad for this movie, and Warner Brothers did cut a version of Mickey 17, but in Bong Joon-ho's contract, he did have final cut say. So even though Warner Brothers edited a movie and at least tried to persuade Bong Joon-ho to release that version of Mickey 17, which in reports tested 10 points higher than this version of Mickey 17, Bong Joon-ho did have it in his contract to have final say on the final cut. And that's why he got this final version, which is not the version that Warner Brothers wanted. So going to be interesting now in the future how Warner Brothers Discovery handles that. They gave a lot of money to Ryan Coogler coming up for Sinners. This is a big year of films in the release schedule for Warner Brothers. Swing and a miss to start the year with Mickey 17. Another big swing and a miss is Disney for Captain America Brave New World in its fifth weekend, dropping 32%, 5.6 this weekend, 185 domestically. I did compare this movie to Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania. It is lucky if it gets in the same breath as Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania's domestic, worldwide box office and domestic. This movie is 96 million or so behind Quantumania. And this movie is running out of steam here at the domestic box office and worldwide box office. Everyone called Quantumania a joke, both financially and critically. While this movie hasn't been as pandered critically, this is a bigger flop. Even with Disney's number of that they're reporting as $180 million budget, this movie still isn't breaking even at the box office. So bad way to start 2025 for the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Thunderbolts in May and Fantastic Four in July. We will see if this is a big year. They owned it last year with their one release, and they're already off to a rocky start in 2025. And wrapping up the top 5 is another new release this weekend, which was the day the Earth blew up, the new Looney Tunes film from Ketchup Entertainment. It does not seem like, a lot of people have an uproar for that Coyote and Acme movie getting a tax write-off from Warner Brothers. Does not look like there's much of an audience for the Looney Tunes in the theatrical market. I think people were just more mad that it could have been any movie, but it got a write-off. Looney Tunes movie, Ketchup Entertainment bought the rights to it, and it opened to at least number 5, which is actually pretty good, but still $3 million. I feel like the Coyote Acme people are more not Looney Tunes fans, just Hollywood fans who don't like seeing tax write-offs for movies. So it seems like that is the answer we got. At the overall domestic box office for this year, Captain America Brave New World is number 1, but a bad number 1, 186.1 domestic. It is the only movie so far this year in the $100 million club. Dogman's at 2 with 93 million. One of them, Dave's, big drop off to number 3 of 49 million. Paddington and Peru at 4 of 41 million. Den of Thieves 2, Pantera is at 5 of 36 million. Again, this is just domestically. The Monkey is at 6 of 35 million. At 35 million. Mickey 17 is also at number 7 with 33 million. Hard Eyes at 8 with 30 million. Flight Risk at 9 with 29 million. And there is Companion at 10 with only 20.8 million domestically. It is already on PVOD. Worldwide numbers, again, Nazat 2 reportedly, at least as of now, 1.9 billion, 1.98 to be specific. 19 of that million is just from domestically. China has 1.96 of that billion dollars. Another Chinese film is at number 2 with 432 million. Moving on, Captain America Brave New World is the biggest movie worldwide domestically from an American film, but it's at number 3, 389 million. The fact that it's not even at 400 million right now is honestly embarrassing for both Disney and Marvel. Dogman's at 5 with 126 million worldwide. Bridget Jones, Mad About Boy. Again, this is a Peacock exclusive movie in the States, not in England, and it dominated in England. So Bridget Jones, Mad About Boy, made 113 million with none of that coming domestically. Mickey 17's at 8 with 91 million, and Den of Thieves 2 Pantera is at 56 million worldwide. Big weekend as March has been off to honestly an embarrassing start with the releases of Mickey 17 and Novocaine, which are very soft #1 movies. Disney is now back in the multiplex after the failure of Captain America: Brave New World with the highly controversial Snow White movie. They had a premiere with selected press. Reviews should be coming out as you are getting this video released to you. I am seeing the movie on Monday next week, so I'll have that review. But Snow White is hitting theaters with Gal Gadot and Rachel Zegler. It's been very controversial from the get-go, even before they started shooting the movie with the actors' take on the original Snow White. Then just so many controversies with this movie. The reported number it's supposed to at least projected to get to is 50 million domestically. I think at this point, Disney and that film would be very thrilled with $50 million. You know, if you compare it to other Disney animation and live action adaptations, that's a very low number. But I think for this movie to be in the $50 million range for an opening weekend with all of the BS surrounding it, I think Disney, honestly, at this point, would take it. The other new release this weekend is The Alto Knights. This is the split personality role for Robert De Niro, directed by Barry Levinson. That is hitting theaters. And also in very limited release, Jonathan Majors is back in a leading role with Magazine Dreams. The movie came out years ago. Disney Fox Searchlight was going to release it 2 years ago during awards season, but after all the Jonathan Majors stuff came out, they dropped the movie. A new minor film studio picked it up and is releasing it very limited this weekend. So we'll see if that also makes any kind of noise. That's this past weekend's box office here on the channel. Tons of videos already here to start the week. You have reviews of Novocaine and an out-of-theater reaction for Novocaine, a review of Win or to Lose. That was all just yesterday and today. Today you got my review of Novocaine and this video. Tomorrow you'll get my review of, as of now, at least I'm planning to, tomorrow, Black Bag out-of-theater reaction and spoiler review of the new episode of Daredevil. Thursday, you get my reviews of both Electric State and Black Bag, more likely here on the channel. And then coming up next Monday, you'll get my review of an out-of-theater reaction for Snow White. And then back here on Tuesday with another box office breakdown show.